Audi TT Mk1 Wheel Well Toolkit.
Hi all, Andy here and welcome back to the channel, where today I'm covering the toolkit in the wheel well in the Audi TT Mk1. If you're not already done so, please think about subscribing to my channel, where you'll find a whole host of content on the Audi TT Mk1. Also, if you like today's video, then please do give it a thumbs up, it's most appreciated. First things first, I've got two Audi TT Mk1s here. One is a 3.2 and one is a 225 Roadster. There is a difference between the two toolkits, and I'll come on to that shortly. The toolkit I'm talking about sits in the same place. It's in the wheel well, in the rear of the cars, in the boot or the trunk if you're in the US. Within that toolkit, you will find all the components you need to remove the wheel and also some other jobs. Audi are very good at including extra tools that you may need for small jobs on the car. It also includes, in both cars, the warning triangle, which is held at the back of the car. You open the Velcro, the triangle comes out. So there you go, mine is unused. So if you're missing your warning triangle in the boot of your car, the part number is 8D9860251B. It's got the Audi stamp and the VW badge too. Now, to get it back away again, it's quite hard to thread with the triangle in place. So the best thing to do is thread the Velcro through, just lightly tack it, get your warning triangle, slide it through, and then once the triangle's in place, you can tighten. No faffing about. The 225 Roadster, and I believe the Coupe also, has a spare wheel. So if you break down or if you have a puncture, you can do a wheel change at the side of the road. So that's all great. The toolkit holder sits within the recess of the spare wheel. The 3.2 and also the Quattro Sport are different because they have the battery in the boot or the trunk rather than under the bonnet where the engine is. Because of this, there is no space for a wheel well in the boot, but just enough depth to get this toolkit in. It shares the space with the battery. So let's look at the two cars and see the differences and what's contained within your toolkit. So let's start with the 225 Roadster. If we open the boot, we need to first remove the tonneau cover. Now I need to fold back the flaps within the boot to access the spare wheel. So if we fold this back, we can see the toolkit is under this plastic panel. Now, I'm not going to remove the toolkit in this video. All I'm going to do is literally remove the nut that holds it in place, put that to one side, and what it has on the reverse is some handy instructions. If I turn that around, showing you some exercises for either aligning the wheel when putting the bolts on or removing the bolts, and how to tighten the bolts in sequence using the various tools. So I'm going to put that to one side. Being Audi, each one of these parts has a unique part number, so I'll put a list of those on screen, so if you have lost any of your components or they're not with the car, you can try and track them down online. So now, looking at the wheel well toolkit in the Roadster, you will notice this does have a spare wheel, nice and deep. It also has a small spanner with a 13mm and a 10mm end, so that's handy for handling any nuts are of that size. There's plenty of those on the car. You've also got your towing eye. Now that screws in at the front of the car, just behind one of the lower vents. You've also got your wheel brace for undoing the nuts. This appears to be an alignment tool when you're fitting and removing the wheel, so it doesn't roll around everywhere. I would imagine that part is one that will go missing. There appears to be a set of tweezers that go in this recess, and I will cover that when we get to the 3.2.
Also missing from the Roadster toolkit is the reversible screwdriver.
Also got my locking nut key. Now the jack, as you can see, it's hardly had any use, my jack, in great condition. You've also got a plastic mat, so you can put that down when you're working on the car. What a great feature that is. Audi have included that so you can work on the car. Now there's also this little chap, which is shaped like a letter P. And you might wonder what that's for, but I'm going to show you that now. You can see they have a centre cap. And there are a total of, I think, 9 holes. So the idea with the letter P is you place the end of it through your cap, like so, turn it to the side, and you can remove the cap. Now for those of you that end up using a screwdriver to pull the edges off, now you know that's not necessary. If we look on the back of the centre cap, there are these larger dents which you must line up with that dent there to put it back on. So if we find that one, put it back on, snap it back into place. So again, the P, thread it through the hole, turn it to the side and pull it off. Easy as that. So that is one really handy tool. You will also notice on some of the wheels they have a smaller centre cap, but it too has a hole through it, and you can again use this to remove the centre cap.
That's enough on the 225, let's look at the 3.2.
Now I find the easiest way to fold this floor back to look at the spare wheel well is to loosen the back seats if you have them. Just slightly put them forward, like so. That way, when you lift this handle, you lift, and I find you lift again, you can fold that back like so, and it stays right out of the way. You'll notice that this wheel well cover is much bigger on the 3.2, however there's less space underneath it. So if we remove this, you'll see how different this is. Much smaller spindle, we'll put that to one side. We will now lift the cover. If we look on the back of the cover, I don't believe this has the instructions in the same layout. It has it on a much smaller version, but it does highlight how to use that small plastic tool on the wheel. Let's put that to one side. With the cover out of the way, you will see the shape of the toolkit is very different. It's more like a back to front C. The battery is here in the corner also, but we have a lot of the same tools with some extras.
If anyone knows what goes in this recess here, please let me know in the comments.
Now what do we have? Again, we've got the towing eye, and that's located and attached in the same place on this car as it is on the 225, 180 and 150. You also have the wheel brace that you'd recognise from the previous wheel well. The jack, again mine hasn't even been used. The 13mm and 10mm spanner once again. Now this recess here, that seems to be full of dog hair, normally has a pair of tweezers. I will put a picture of them up on screen and the part number.
Here's the tweezers, and they are used to extract the road wheel bolts from the wheels when removing the wheel.
But again, they are missing on this car. But what you also have on the 3.2 and the Quattro Sport is a lack of spare wheel, as I've mentioned. So instead you need to fix any punctures and flats at the side of the road. It does include this pump, and the pump combines with this Audi fluid, tyre fluid, and the idea being the pump will pump this fluid into the tyre and prevent it going flat. So like tyre sealant essentially. The instructions for this are printed on the back of the pump. You can see that you have two options. If you just want to inflate the tyre, you can use this pump. However, if you want to use the tyre fluid because you've actually got a puncture, you can see you insert the tyre fluid into this part of the flap, which I'll show you in a sec, attach it to the pipe, pump it into the tyre, but again you must run it for no more than 8 minutes. However, I would say use these as a last resort, and if you can, phone someone that can come and assist you, such as a breakdown company, because I believe once you use this fluid, there is no return. That tyre is going to be wrecked. I would say the fluid is probably many years old. It is original Audi fluid from what you can see. So I have some doubts on how good that would be. So what you can buy is you can buy a bottle of this, which is tyre fluid and a pump all in one. It inflates the tyre and pumps the fluid into the tyre to make a good seal. I would recommend picking some of this up from your local car spare shop. It saves you using the original and keeping it nice and intact if you want to do that with the car. You'll also notice that this screwdriver exists with the 3.2, and from what I understand that should exist on the 225 also, but seems to be missing. So if we remove the pump, so here is the pump, and the way this works is push down this flap here and you'll release the front flap. I'm not going to pull that hose out, but the idea being you pull that out and you would screw that straight into the tyre. But in this instance, as you can see from the top, if we were going to use it with the fluid, you'd slide that bottle of fluid into there. You would attach the end of the bottle here to the pipe that comes out of here, and then you would attach the end of this to your tyre and inflate. So I'm going to put that back carefully because I don't want to damage that. Fold that back up, put that back into the car. So that's essentially a tour of the toolkit that comes with the 3.2 and also the Quattro Sport. I hope you found today's video useful. If you have, then please do give this video a thumbs up as already mentioned. Thanks for watching and see you soon. Take care.